Alright, so if you own a clothing brand, this video should help you out a ton because most clothing brands go through years without having email set up at all. And some of them actually get pretty far, but a lot of them they kind of get to the point where they can't scale, they can't grow anymore, and they kind of get to the point where their ads just don't work. All right. So what email does is email kind of helps you out, helps your traffic go a lot further. So if you send people to your site, you're going to get a lot more for it. All right. So it's going to help your ads a ton. But anyway, if you're having trouble scaling, this is most likely the reason. And I see tons of clothing brands that actually have gotten pretty far, but they just can't get any further because they don't have the proper email setup. So what I went ahead and did is I listed three different routes for that brand to go. And basically, I want you to be completely honest with yourself, and whatever one your brand is in, it will kind of help you decide where you got to be. Okay. So for the first one is brand one. So let's say you have no pop-up form at all. Okay, you're not taking email serious at all. You're not even really doing anything. All right. Um, People go to your website and they can leave the website. They don't get asked for email at all. And what this is going to do is it's going to lead to no email revenue at all. Okay, so there's a ton of progress to be made if you're in this slot. And I see a lot of brands are in this slot. Okay, now the second most common slot is this right here. So the brand has a low converting pop-up. So I can really go to there's a tons of brands I can analyze their pop-ups, and a lot of them are really bad. So brands think just because their pop-up looks good, it looks clean, it visually looks good, doesn't mean it's converting good. So it really comes down to the conversion. Now I want to say something right now. Let's say we have two different pop-ups. So this is let's say this brand has a 10% submit rate for a pop-up, okay, and this brand over here is a 5% submit rate. The difference between a 5% and a 10% is double the email revenue. So if your brand's bringing in, let's say they're bringing in 100K a month, okay, let's say you have a 5% pop-up and a 10%, that's going to be the difference between like $20,000 a month and $40,000 per month through email. So it makes a really big difference when you look at it that way. Um, so the brands that have a pop-up but they're really low converting, typically they have either no setup at all. So their flows aren't set up and they're not sending campaigns at all, other for the odd campaign maybe. But what really happens here is that but they're growing a list, but they're not sending emails at all, so that they still have no email revenue. Okay. But what happens over here is that they're still growing their list, but they have the bare minimum email set up. So they have a couple flows. Okay. They're sending campaigns once in a while, every so often, like a couple times a month, maybe. And that's kind of it for their email. Okay. So these guys might be attributing zero to, I wouldn't even say 20, I'd say 0 to 15%. And what this means is that you can at least double to triple your results. So if you're doing 15%, you should be able to 2.5 times that. Okay. So even if you're in this slot right here, you have a small setup, you still should really go ahead and get a better setup because it's going to benefit you for the long-term future, and it's overall going to make your brand more profitable. So the third slide here is your brand. You're really focused on email. You have a high converting pop-up, 10% plus with a submit rate, okay? And you understand really how important it is. Like I talked about earlier, you really understand how your pop-up affects your overall results, okay? So you're growing your list super quickly because of all your site visitors, and you have the proper flow set up. So you don't just have 2 to 3 flows set up over here. You have like 7 different flows set up. Okay, so you have the welcome flow, you have the cart abandonment flow, the checkout abandonment flow, the post purchase flow, the site abandoned. Anyway, there's quite a few of them, and these are 100% automated. So once you set these up as a brand owner, they're totally done. Okay. Now the campaigns are more of the monthly work. Okay. So campaigns are about 3 to 4 per week. And what a really good brand does is crappy brands, what they do is they send 3 to 4 per week, but they're heavy in discounts and they're all sales and they're just showing products and they kind of spam the list with revenue based emails. What you want to do is break it up into different sectors. So you got attention based emails, trust, retention, and urgency. So for example, when you're sending educational emails, let's say you send educational emails and you have a drop in a month. If you were to send educational emails through the month and you have your drop email will go a lot better because of the educational emails. So people are a lot more likely to buy. So that's kind of the reason. And for results, I've done this for many, many, many brands in the past, and I get really good results. So here are a few of my most recent ones. So I'm not going to say where this brand's from, but you can see these guys are doing about 22,000 euros in revenue, and I got these guys to the point where about almost 40% of their entire brand's revenue is coming in from the email setup that I made. Okay. So if we look at this over here, here are some of their campaigns. Okay, so we can just look. So campaign one, I bought the name, but 254 euros. Okay, the next one zero. The next one I made 270 euros. The next one 50 euros, then 237, then another 300, then 100, then 214. So this range from March 13th to March 31st. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 emails, and through campaigns, I almost made these guys, I would say, close to 1,500 euros for email. So you can just see how powerful it is, okay? And another brand here, I just want to show you. One drop email, I brought these guys in 4,000 euros, okay? So email is super powerful, and you might just think no one checks your email, but they really do, especially if you get the targeting right. Okay, so if you can get people to actually an engaged list, and if you get notifications on for them, people get a notification that your drop come out or whatever, then email results are gonna be super good. So here's some of the flows that set up as well. So we got the welcome series, the VIP, sunset, site abandonment, and the rest I already went over. And these flows have done really well. So for example, the welcome series brought in 1,700 euros, VIP 710, and then we got the what else we got here? Site abandonment. Customer thank you brought over 1,000 euros. So I'm just trying to show you guys that email actually gets crazy good results, and it doesn't really matter any brand it can do good results for. So if you're interested in taking a look at the process, taking a look at the entire structure, and kind of I can take a look at your Klaviyo for you and tell you where you're at here, because maybe you're close to this but you're not quite there. I can tell you what needs to be done. So go in my description, add me on Instagram, and shoot me a DM.